We recently had a horrendous crime happen in Georgia. A young man had gone out running, and for some reason, two men in the neighborhood thought that he fit the description of a criminal who had robbed the neighborhood, and they ended up shooting him to death. Now, apparently, somebody was recording, and so we are all able to see the video, and it was undeniable that this was targeted and it was murder in cold blood in broad daylight. The situation brought up old wounds and it opened up old situations that people have been dealing with for a long time. And I think that's the core issue. The core issue here is that these men were reacting out of maybe their own prejudice, maybe out of their own upbringing, maybe out of their own perspective on things, which does not take away from the fact that they're sinful men. Sinful people will do sinful things. And therefore, as you examine the situation, you begin to understand that sin is what really brings our society down. From the beginning of time, God created Adam and Eve, placed them in the Garden of Eden, and sin separated them from God. In this particular situation, we're dealing with the sin of racism. Whichever way you look at it from, it is the core issue. And if these people are affected with their own prejudice, then their sinful nature is what's causing them to act this way. So at the end of the day, as men and women of God, yes, we have every right to feel a certain way about these situations. As a black man, I have no choice but to think this could have been me because I go running frequently. I have no choice but to think I have a son. And what if he faces a similar situation? But at the end of the day, my solution is to begin to continue the fight to eradicate sin and the sin nature in people. And the only way I know how is to introduce people to Jesus Christ. And once they know Jesus Christ, they shun sin and they begin to walk in the light. And along with other sins that are more popular than others, racism is going to be included there as a sin. It is part of fallen man's nature. And therefore, we have to use the only weapon that we know to eradicate the sin that's in the world. What action am I supposed to take? I've thought long and hard. I've had conversations with different people to get to a point of seeing what's the right action to take. And the only action I can take is really pray. I want to pray for this young man's family, that God will bring healing, that this will not be a wound that lasts for generations to come, that there'll be a point where they get to forgive these two men out of a place of understanding that they're in a fallen state. I want to pray for these two men that committed this heinous crime, that God will bring redemption to their souls. And out of that, maybe generations behind them will not carry the same hatred and the same nature of sin that could be easily carried from generation to generation. And I want to pray for the rest of society that we will all find healing, because all these situations create and open up old wounds. And we who know Jesus Christ know that Jesus can heal all our wounds, and he can carry away all our troubles, and he can cause us to live in a newness of faith and life. And no matter how sinful the world around us is, we can find peace in the middle of it. Let us pray for redemption. Let us pray that the sin nature in the world will be combated by the love of God.